Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the case file on a really fascinating and, honestly, kind of stealthy microscopic pathogen. And trust me, it's got quite a story to tell.
Now, that question, it's not just a thought experiment. We're about to dive into a microscopic agent that does exactly that. And the way it operates, its efficiency is so ruthless, it's like something straight out of science fiction.
So here it is, our subject, Encephalitozoon hellem. Now, this little guy first popped up on the medical radar back in 1991. It was causing some really severe eye and systemic infections, especially in patients whose immune systems were already weakened by HIV. And that discovery, well, it kicked off a decades-long investigation to figure out what this thing really was.
So, what exactly is this organism? For the longest time, we had it pegged completely wrong. Its real identity, well, it's a major scientific plot twist.
Okay, let's be super clear here. Encephalitozoon hellem is a total cellular hijacker. It's not just some freeloader hanging out on the surface of a cell. Nope, it's an endoparasite, which means it has to get inside your cells to survive. That's where it gets its food, makes copies of itself, and basically hides out from the world. And this is where the story gets really wild. For years, scientists were convinced this thing was a simple, primitive protozoan. But then modern genetics came along, and when they sequenced its DNA, they found chitin, the seam stuff that makes up mushroom cell walls. That was the smoking gun. It proved this wasn't a protozoan at all. It's actually a fungus, a highly specialized, incredibly stripped-down fungus. This discovery completely flipped our understanding of where it fits in the tree of life.
And here's its official address in the Tree of Life. Look at that, right at the top, Kingdom Fungi. It belongs to this really unique phylum called Microsporidia. And what's so cool about this group is that we now know they're one of the oldest, most ancient branches of the entire fungal kingdom. How amazing is that?
All right, so if it's a fungus, where does it hang out? Where do we find it? Well, the answer might surprise you, because it's pretty much flying all around us. So it turns out the main carriers, the primary reservoirs for Encephalitozoon hellem, are birds. Yeah, we're talking everything from the parrots and finches people keep as pets to the pigeons you see in every city square. The birds themselves often don't even get sick, but they act as hosts, constantly shedding infectious spores into the environment. And this isn't just a local issue. No way. Studies from all over the world confirm this thing is widespread. Look at this. In Japan, almost 10% of companion birds they tested had it. And across Europe, from Spain to Poland and right into the Netherlands, city pigeons are known to be major carriers. And this really brings the story home, especially to places like the Netherlands. In a city like Amsterdam, for example, research found this fungus all over the place in pigeon droppings. Now, here's the kicker. When those droppings dry out, the tiny little spores can actually become airborne. So just walking through a public square could pose an inhalation risk. On top of that, you've got the international pet bird trade, which is basically a superhighway for bringing in new strains of the pathogen. Okay, so once a person gets exposed, how does the attack actually work? Well, it's this ruthlessly efficient, three-act drama of invasion, multiplication, and escape. Its life cycle is really a masterclass in parasitic strategy. It all starts with these tough little spores getting into a host. Once a spore gets inside one of your cells, it goes into this crazy replication phase, just multiplying like mad. And then, in the final act, it packages itself up into brand new spores, which then burst out of the host cell, killing it, by the way, and go on to infect other cells. It's an incredibly effective cycle. So where does it set up shop? Pretty much anywhere. As you can see, depending on how it gets in, it can cause nasty eye infections, respiratory problems like sinusitis, or even issues in the genitourinary tract. But for people who are really vulnerable, it doesn't just stop there. It can go systemic, meaning it spreads throughout the entire body. But wait, how does it get away with all this? How does it just set up camp inside our bodies? Well, this is where it gets really clever. It has a secret weapon. See, it doesn't just invade. It actively sabotages our body's alarm system. So the outcome of an infection depends almost entirely on one thing, the strength of your immune system. For most healthy people, the immune system keeps it in check. You might not even have any symptoms. In fact, a lot of people have antibodies, which suggests they've been exposed before and fought it off. But for someone who's immunocompromised, say someone with a low count of those critical CD4 T cells, it's a whole different story.
the parasite can just run wild, causing really severe life-threatening disease.
Okay, so now that we know the threat, how do we find this thing and how do we fight back? Well, lucky for us, the counteroffensive, our diagnostic and treatment strategies have become just as sophisticated as the pathogen itself.
And this is a perfect example of one of the key diagnostic tools. Just look at that. What you're seeing is an immunofluorescence assay. Basically, scientists take these special antibodies that are designed to hunt for Encephalitozoon hellem, and they tag them with a fluorescent dye. When the antibodies find the spores, they lock on and, bam! The invaders light up in this brilliant, bright green under the microscope. There's no hiding. Now, to get a definitive diagnosis, labs usually have to use a whole toolkit. You've got your traditional microscopy with staining, which is cheap and easy, but it's not great at telling the different species apart. Then you have molecular tools like PCR, which are super sensitive and highly specific. They'll tell you exactly what you're dealing with, but they're also more expensive. And finally, there's serology, which looks for antibodies in the blood. It's great for screening large populations, but it can't tell you if someone has an active infection right now or if they just fought one off years ago. So the treatment strategy is really a two-pronged attack. The main weapon is a medication called albendazole. What it does is mess with the parasite's internal structure so it can't divide and multiply. For eye infections, they might also use special eye drops. But, and this is absolutely crucial, the medication isn't enough on its own. The most important part of the strategy is actually rebuilding the patient's own immune system. You need both to really clear the infection. And this approach, by the way, is pretty much the standard everywhere, from Dutch guidelines to international ones like the CDC's. But you know what? The story isn't over, not by a long shot. The more we study Encephalitozoon hellem, the more we realize just how sophisticated it is. Researchers are constantly uncovering new pages in its playbook. And some of the latest discoveries are just wow. For instance, new research suggests that this parasite can actually sense a specific factor in our blood, the stuff that helps with clotting, and it uses that as a signal, a cue to launch its invasion. And get this. We now understand that it produces a specific protein that basically blindfolds our immune system's first responders, these things called dendritic cells, so they can't sound the alarm. It's an incredible act of sabotage. So all of this leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? I mean, the story of Encephalitozoon hellem is just incredible. A case of mistaken identity, a pathogen that jumps from birds to humans, a true master of cellular sabotage. It really makes you wonder, right? How many other pathogens like this are out there, just hiding in plain sight, waiting for their moment? Now, we put this whole explainer together using a Gemini deep search. And if you want to geek out and go even deeper into the science, and I totally get it if you do, we've put a detailed list of all our sources in the linked Notebook LM document for you to check out. Hey, if you found this deep dive into the microscopic world as fascinating as we did, do us a favor and subscribe to the explainer. We really want to know what you think, so please drop your feedback in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining us.